That's just where you're going to get your best, sweetest, most delicious grapes.
Man, the one comment I was going to make about you is what you see on your videos. I mean, it's how you act. We never met in person before. And
what's that?
Just how you are, yeah. I mean, you're real. You're not faking
real,
anything,
dude.
that's for sure.
I got stuck in my belly when I get on
Oh
video.
goodness, I wasn't making any comments about that. We all feel differently about ourselves, but Dean Family Acres. Hey guys, bright and early this morning, headed out. We're gonna go visit Kinfolk Farms and hopefully Ison's nursery. So about right now, you're probably wondering, how long is this intro? Well, the trip down took about 4 hours, so to trim it down to about 90 seconds, it's probably well worth it. Just hang on for about another 35 seconds. Hey guys, Matt Dean here from Dean Family Acres. We just pulled in Ison's nursery and we're gonna see if we can pick up a couple different vines. I know that we're on our way to Kinfolk Farms, so we wanna check in here. I've heard that we probably can't video, but we're gonna at least see if maybe we can get a couple pictures. Thanks so much guys. Let's see what we can get. Hey guys, Matt Dean here from Dean Family Acres, and guess where we are? That's right, Ison's. So we're able to pick up a Ruby Crisp and also pick up a late fry. They didn't have a pot, but maybe we'll pick up one of those in the late summer, early fall from them. Now we're headed to see Shane at Kinfolk Farms. Y'all be sure and continue to follow us. Comment down below if you've ever ordered anything from Ison's or just your experience. We'd love to hear about it. Really nice folks. Met Greg himself, and also met Darlene as well as his other sister as well. Great family. Thanks so much for watching guys. Hopefully you guys enjoy this. We weren't allowed to film, but they did allow us to kind of film out front. As many folks have said, they are mainly set up as a mail order nursery. They do take walk-ins, but most of the orders traditionally are from mail order. These were the muscadines that they had left, and they also had a wide variety of other trees throughout the front of their property. All right guys, hopefully you guys have enjoyed this a little bit of stint at Ison's nursery. Great products, great folks, and just tons of different opportunities and great information. They're definitely willing to talk to you. And if you ever have any questions or anything about pruning muscadines or anything else, definitely check out Greg Ison's videos here. I'll link those up above and down below. So again, thanks so much for watching guys. Guess who got the absolute last Ruby Crisp at Ison's? This guy. So we got that Ruby Crisp from Ison's, and it was the last one they had. They had to dig it out from the back. They said they had two yesterday, and they thought someone had got one. so we were able to get the last one. And I talked to Greg personally, and there's a guy from our church. He's an older gentleman that knows muscadines. One of the guys I go to for information and knowledge, etc. And he always talks about Greg, so I definitely had to get a picture with him to be able to show him when I go to church on Sunday. And so talked to him about that a little bit, and just told him that Ruby Crisp was a little bit tougher to find this year. And he said, yeah, with anything new like that, you can only get so many plants off of each. Each plant, you can only start another one off of it, only so many. So he said in the next couple of years there'll definitely be a whole lot more. So for now, we got the last one from Ison's for 2022 until the summertime. Late summer, they said that they'd have some more. So awesome, super excited. Now off to see Shane at Kinfolk Farm of Georgia.
But yeah, when we first moved here, we planted this row of muscadines, and they were just purple muscadines. I just bought a bunch of them.
Right.
I didn't know what I wanted. I bought like one of this, one of that, one of this, and I can't remember for the life of me which ones were which. And then my wife, she likes to bronze scumpernongs, so I did that row for her, and I did the same thing. And the first year went by, they did great. So I said, I got all that extra room. I said, I think I'm gonna put in 4 more rows. And I did the exact same thing. I just bought a bunch of plants and planted them. And then I thought the very next year, I had this huge pasture, and everybody kept saying, you need a cow, you need goats, you need that. But we were over the road truckers, me and my wife both, so we went home 5 days a week. And my kids were here watching everything. And I said, the day we leave will be the day they get out. So we just didn't do that. I kept thinking, what can I do with that pasture besides cut it every week? And I said, I'm gonna plant muscadines. And so I started a little at a time. I put myself on a budget. I don't spend if $100 a week. I'd buy 4 or 5 end posts. Next week, 4 or 5 more until I had every one I needed. Dropped them all in. Then I'd buy a little wire, a little more wire.
Right.
And I started buying the plant. It took 3 years, and I finally got it all put in. And I did it all by myself, and all those T-posts, my gosh, I put in hundreds of T-posts. I have 260 something plants out there, 266, and I think I have 263, and I have 36 out here.
How big is the field over there?
I have no idea.
No idea.
We can go over there and look at it here shortly.
Yeah.
But over there, I kept up with everything. I wanted to make sure I know this row's for this row, for the fact we wanted to do a U-pick later down the road. And so it was very important to keep up with what's what.
Right.
I wanted to make sure I had my self-pollinators in certain spots, and it turned out great. So far, it's doing pretty good.
Yeah.
It's hard to grow this many plants organically. It's really, really hard. And so, no, I do not. I spray for weeds. It just helps. Now, I've heard that as they get older, you can back off and you don't have to spray as much. And I've seen vineyards like that where it's just pretty grass all underneath and all that. And I think once they get 3 or 4 years old, like the further plants over there, you don't have to do all that weed spraying because the roots are so established now, they'll get what they need. But these plants are so small. I mean, look at this. I mean, these are brand new plants. They're so small, and the root ball is just a little tiny root. Everything, these big clumps of grass, they just rob it from the water. All the fertilizer that you put down. Right. And we put down a lot of fertilizer.
How how wide should it be? Clear all the way down?
I do, just for visual effect. It looks better. I did it one year where I just did circles, and it just looked like a beehive out here. I hated it.
But circles would work in regard to the functionality.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all you got to do. So it's really hard. If you got a small few vines, you can handle it. And if you say, well, mulch it. Well, muscadines have a
shallow
real
root
shallow
system,
root system, and they'll tend to want to grow up
instead of spreading out.
They'll freeze. They could freeze and kill your plant.
So you don't want to mulch.
At
all.
You don't see
or
hardly
much?
anybody mulching grapes. You don't see. If you do, they ain't learned yet.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't.
I put a little bit of like leaves and stuff when I planted mine this winter, but in regards to like throughout the year, I won't keep.
Well, it could possibly. Tend to make your roots run a little shallow. And if you have a big freeze, which we don't really have, South Carolina, Georgia, you don't really have that. But you get one like we had the other day, it was what, 22 degrees?
Yeah,
22
it was like
here.
21, I think,
at
our
really
house.
Hurt your plants. Yeah, it can hurt your plants and cause some problems.
Took out all our blueberries, that's for sure.
Yeah. Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Me and Matt were talking about earlier about the wild vines. Everybody tends to, we got wild vines in the woods. They're 100 feet up a pine tree or something, and we get these little grapes. Yeah, but if you take that vine and you chop it, we joke about that, but if you cut it and start something nice and small, you may have a good vine. But to run them big, long muscadines, they don't get the water and nutrients that they need at the top to put out really, really good grapes. The majority of your grapes, this is a perfect example. This is a second-year grape right here. Last year, this thing really took off. It has a nice stalk, real nice trunk. It comes up, and you see the heavy growth right here. All this real heavy growth right here. It gets smaller. As a matter of fact, there's nothing. The rest of the vine. This one made it all the way to the end. I mean, there's literally nothing. But it'll branch out this year, because this is second-year vine. It didn't make it to the top, but it'll branch out. But every year, and I'll show you on some bigger vines, every year these are going to get bigger and bigger, and they'll tend to get smaller and smaller as it goes down. Because
the grapes themselves,
the grapes
and the vine,
the vine, everything, because that's where the most of your nutrients and water and all that's making it. The further out, just the weaker you plant. That's why Ison's recommends 10 foot each direction. That's just where you're going to get your best, sweetest, most delicious grapes. That's where your best grapes are.
Right.
10 foot each direction. Cut it off, start another one. Don't be cheap.
Sounds good.
Get you some plants.
And while you're talking 10 foot in each direction, looking at your hard work here with your trellising, and I've heard of some people say, oh, you got to put a post right next to the vine. Ison's really doesn't say that, and I know you don't do that, and I know several other people I've talked to don't, but I've seen a couple people say you gotta you gotta have that, and I guess maybe in year 20 it might bow a little bit, but
if anything it might sag a little bit, but it ain't gonna go nowhere. That 9-gauge wire is tough, and like my brother, he grows grapes too. He puts a 45-degree bracer right here, and to me that's just extra work. You can see most of my posts are tilted out just a little bit. I try to get them tilted out, so if they do sag, they'll actually stand straight. But these posts, they're pressure treated, they ain't going nowhere. These suckers are 5 inch, they ain't going nowhere. They're strong, and they're 2.5 foot deep with 80 pounds of concrete. They're not going anywhere, and you got a T-post every 20 foot, and they're tied off to every T-post. They're not going anywhere. Now, if you were on the coast, and I have heard if you're on the coast where you get a lot of high winds, you may want to add extra bracing. But we're nowhere near the coast, so we really don't have to worry about it. So I would, if you're close to the coast or you're dealing with a lot of wind, it doesn't have to hurt to have some extra bracing, but I just see it as a lot of extra work.
Right.
Yeah. Not long after we talked about trellising, Shane asked if we wanted to go live on his YouTube channel, Kinfolk Farmer, Georgia. And I said, well, I've never done a live before.
Ain't no backing out now. Ain't no backing out now.
You be tutoring me.
Yeah, we're in this thing. Oh, you got the comment section.
Nice.
They'll see you though. They'll see you. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. We thought we'd go live today. We're just running around with a special guest, Matt. Introduce yourself.
Hey guys, I'm Matt Dean from Dean Family Acres in Upstate of South Carolina.
He's down here hanging out today. He asked if he could come by and visit the farm. I was like, sure, come down. We've been walking around having a good time, talking muscadines. So I've had a ball. Pigs.
Yep.
Yeah, we had a good time.
I'm learning a little bit. I don't think I've taught him anything.
Well, we're still both learning. I learn something every day.
Hope you guys enjoyed our visit down to South Georgia as we visited Ison's Nursery and Shane at Kinfolk Farm of Georgia. If you'll check back again, we'll have a part 2 where we talk with Shane about pruning muscadines, as well as about pigs, blackberries, and elderberries. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and ring that bell like Mike Tyson did in the 1980s. You guys have a blessed day.